What's up, volleyball fans? I'm Darren Tipton, and welcome to the VB Adrenaline Podcast. Our podcast, we will dive deep into the heart of the game, bringing you the hottest topics, prospects, and a buzz surrounding prep and college volleyball, especially the world of recruiting. In each episode, our crew will spotlight rising stars who are shaking up the national game. Plus, we will serve you the scoop on current events that have coaches and fans talking courtside. Tune in for the episodes that spotlight tomorrow's college stars, new trends in the sport, plus interviews that will keep you informed on the explosion that is volleyball in the USA. You can connect with us on social media, Instagram at vbadrenaline.com_ and Twitter at vbadrenaline. Be part of the conversation. Share your thoughts on your favorite players, prospects, and predictions by using hashtag VBAdrenaline. So grab a seat, volleyball fans, and get ready to dive into the world of spikes, sets, and serves with the VB Adrenaline Podcast. See you there. All right, welcome everybody back. We're back with another episode of the VB Adrenaline Podcast, and Mac and I, things are crazy. March Madness, if you will, is definitely madness in the volleyball world, with Mac's world definitely heating up and crazy as ever. The volleyball world, colleges heating up in the heart of spring practice, and club world, things are crazy with qualifier season, and recruiting is heating up as well. Things are getting close. June 15th is on its way. And so we thought we'd pop on and going to have a special guest coming on, Anders Nelson, head coach of Vandy Volleyball, will be popping in here in a little bit. And Mac, not only with your career, but volleyball, the fingers are typing fast, and give us an update with what you've been following.
Yeah. MEQ was last weekend, so there was a lot of good volleyball played there. A lot of Midwest volleyball. I think that's something unique about, it's the Mid-East qualifier, but there's a lot of Midwest volleyball being played at that tournament. So it's good to see some of those teams that I don't get to catch a ton at some of the qualifiers that are out on the West Coast or even down south in Texas, etc. But yeah, a lot of good volleyball being played, trying to playing catch up a little bit on the MEQ, trying to stay involved with all of it. But yeah, seeing lots of good stuff.
Well, and we're going to bring Anders on here as he just popped up. But what was crazy, and we'll get back to it, and we'll go to more of our prep talk after we talk with Coach and get him on his way. But we talked about, I guess you're still a rookie, but this is my third year of doing the big list. And I told you how much farther ahead we are with this class of 27, going into Triple Crown. And I don't ever profess to be an expert by any means, but the first year, learning who Kari Spears was at Triple Crown would tell you just how little we knew about that class. But going in this year, how big of a list we had with these 27s, and still at MEQ coming away with another 8 or 9 prospects that are going to be going to big time Power 4 schools that we're still learning. Right. And it really speaks to maybe the depth in the class, and every year just how many more talented high-level kids there are in volleyball, I think.
Yep. It was cool to see that we're adding names still. I think at this point in the season, we were expecting to find new names, but it's cool to have such a big list and still be able to build it out and still be seeing new player profiles on our site. And some of those these talented players are like, oh, we found a player profile, and now we're like, wow, how have we not had our eye on this kid for longer? So, it's cool to see, but yeah, it's going to show that there's a lot of good volleyball being played right now, especially in this 2027 class.
Well, and we can even see too what was maybe a 175 3 years ago and now has changed.
Yeah. No, even just I when I first jumped on board in like October, November, I did a couple PPV evaluations of some players and updating those. I'm going back through and rewriting, like writing some articles. I'm like, oh, I remember that name. And I found my article from like the very first article I ever wrote. And I was like, wow, she's jumped 20 points in her PPV. So it's kind of cool to see the evolution of some of these players too. And like the film that I was watching from their season as 15s that I'm now watching them as 16s is a huge jump. I always think 15s to 16s is a big jump, but it's kind of cool to see it with that PPV numeric value aligned with it too.
Well, speaking of that, that's a good intro to bring in, I guess I can call him my old friend, Anders Nelson. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, Tip. How are you doing?
I'm great. Now, first of all, I saw a little social media picture the other night at a pro game, and I got to credit you on your fashion sense, bud.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I got to go watch Mac play, so I was able to see her play in Omaha over the weekend, and yeah, I've been trying to get to a PVF match to watch Ajani Teeler for the Indy Ignite with her being our assistant coach. So I want to make sure I saw her and, yeah, have some ties to the Omaha Supernovas as well, including their head coach, Bird. So it was a really cool weekend for me to, yeah, go there and spend some time. And, yeah, I guess hanging around 18-year-olds helps you with the fashion a little bit, Tip.
Well, I know. I looked at it and I was like, well, Max said, I saw Anders at our game. I was like, yeah, we went to watch Z, and I'm like, what the heck? His fashion sense was crazy. I said, that's his big city, Nashville. But
yep, that's it.
Well, I like the mustache, and I don't know, maybe it's just the lighting. I thought you maybe did some highlighted the tips or something, but
if we're just gonna compliment me for the rest of this, I'm game, by the way. Like, I'm totally okay with that. If you like, Mac, you saw me. What else we got?
Yeah, let's just keep going.
Yeah, just keep rolling.
Yeah.
Now you're back in your element. You got the coaching gear on. Now it's the Durs I know. But speaking of that, let's get to your element. We're talking about you and I with part of the player profiles. I laughed because we interviewed the one of the managers from the Louisville program for their site, and we talked about just analytics and how coaches are using analytics so much more.
Yeah.
And I just started laughing because I said, a good friend of mine, and I sat down years ago, and he said, Tip, coaches just go off the eye test.
Was that me in South Dakota like 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
Yeah. You were there to watch some skinny little setter, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
She turned out okay, didn't she?
Yep, she did. She was about an 8th grader then, yeah, when I went to watch Bergen play. Yeah. Yeah, I think also there just no one had done it well then. And that's the hard part, is just how do you get a system that immediately people understand what it means, but also there's consistency across the board. And yeah, that's one of the cool parts about the growth of volleyball, is just seeing, companies like you guys and outlets like you guys doing a much better job of evaluating the prep space.
Yeah. And also, I think Volleymetrics does a much better job than I do with my little top testing. But for an football coach, I felt pretty good with our combine together. But yes, Anders and I had that talk at Tinner's Grill in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, about 7 years ago. So I felt good. But how's spring going?
It's good. It doesn't feel like spring, if I'm being totally honest, because it's the first time we're getting to play. So in a way, it feels like a really early fall. Just because, like I said, the excitement to go play is different than previous springs that I've been a part of, where the exhibitions truly feel like exhibitions. And now we're in a space where you're kind of counting down the days till the match comes. And no doubt that's what we're doing right now. We get to play Louisville in a couple of days. And we just talked this week as a group about what a cool opportunity it is. And our team has a real, cool sense of gratitude towards getting to compete. And we spent so long just competing against ourselves and practicing that I don't want to lose that. I really want to hold on to that. And the joy of just getting to go play against somebody. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, the spring, if I had one word to describe it would just be fun, though. We're having a blast and trying to kind of surprise some people with how we play and showcase some of our athletic players and things like that. But it's just been so fun to grind in the gym with this group every single day and then to actually get to go play somebody and see how we look.
Yeah. Does it feel like it's going so fast? I feel like the spring's going fast. I was I popped into a college practice when I was back in Columbus, and I was like, how are you guys already at spring break? And like, this is it.
Yeah, the basketball season is what felt crazy to me. I was like, what, we're already in the conference tournaments? Like, how did that happen? It feels like, the new year. Yeah, it's going by so fast, and that doesn't always happen late in spring. Sometimes I would say, and you went through it, Mac, but like the end of the spring can be a little bit of a grind.
Yeah.
So again, thankfully, we're not facing those types of things right now, just because we're all so excited to get to play. But yeah, we got 3 weeks left, and we're playing Louisville, then Lipscomb, then Purdue. So it's like bang, bang, bang here, and I'm sure that'll go even faster.
What I had talked to Miss Witherspoon this weekend and about her experience and just the crew. And she had talked about the leadership from your transfers that you came in. And you needed some of that just to have some upperclassmen experience. But she talked about what a great job they are doing getting your youngins through knowing what college ball's really like. Yeah. So maybe talk on them a little bit.
Yeah, I think we knew we were going to have some experience. And with that, one of the first questions I asked any of the more experienced transfers that we were looking at was, what are your thoughts about playing with a bunch of 17, 18, 19-year-olds? Because I wanted to be very blunt with them and wanted them to know, like, hey, this is going to be a thing. Like, you're going to play with a lot of people that are a lot younger than you. And I remembered back to my 5th year of college. I redshirted, so I got to play 5 years. And my 5th year, I remember playing with some of the freshmen and just kind of feeling not like I didn't really relate to them very well. Like, they were talking about prom, and I was like, I'm talking about full-time job stuff. So that part's weird, and I wanted to make sure they knew that coming in, and wanted to make sure that I wasn't, hiding anything from them. But the cool part is all of our experienced transfers had expressed joy from mentoring younger athletes. So I think it was, they were being truthful. I think they enjoy it. I think they enjoy the opportunity to get to teach younger athletes what it's like, and all of them have done a really good job of being vulnerable and talking about their own experiences and some of the harder times from their freshman, sophomore, junior years. And when you hear somebody you respect so much say, like, hey, I struggled with that my freshman year, man, does it make our freshmen just breathe a huge sigh of relief. So I'm glad Maya brought that up. There's no doubt that they're doing a great job. And yeah, we have 6 true freshmen and then 4 early mid-year enrollees. So we got 10 people. 2/3 of our team has never played a college volleyball match before. And I don't know where we'd be without our experienced players, our grandmas. But yeah, it's a cool blend. It's a cool blend, and both sides really enjoy it.
It kind of is a little bit of a glimpse into the pro career that any of them may or may not want to have. I mean, I feel like you saying that, I'm like, wow, it's not necessarily prom, but like I'm 24 talking about like life as a 24-year-old, and I've got girls on my team that are 35 buying houses and like doing all sorts of things like that, talking about kids. So it's a whole nother, that's an interesting dynamic. And it's a good, I keep thinking about your program and the things that these girls are going to learn because you guys are starting this up. It's invalid. Like you can't put a like price on what they're doing. And I don't know that they're going to realize it until they're out of it, but it's a really cool scenario. And I see a lot of parallels between what we're doing pro starting in the United States and what you guys are doing, creating a volleyball program from the ground up.
100%. And that's a really good point, Mac, of like pro ball is exactly like that. And we've seen that in, male sports for forever, the rookies getting harassed by these veterans and things like that. So yeah, it's like now we're seeing it in some female sports, which is really cool. But yeah, I've thought about the PVF too. There's so many athletes in your guys' league that are doing it because you want to, make a better league and a better situation for the next generation. And the number of times that I've heard that by our players, when they decided to come here, and I'm asking like, why? And so many of them were like, you sold me on the legacy part of it. And, planting trees you'll never see. Like we say that a lot here. And that's something that, it's a really cool part of this. And I've made it our mission like 10 years from now for those players to come back and just be insanely proud. Like that's what I really want, is for them to walk in the doors and be like, I built this and I'm so proud of what it's become.
How has I was there for camp last summer, but how has feedback been from future recruits, the recruiting end, interest? Because we talk about it often. One, because we're trying to butter up to the staff, because we want good seats whenever we can. But no, we like Nashville, right? And the program should sell itself. Are you getting that feedback?
Yeah, I think and like all things, it just takes time. And, I got here and kind of assumed like, well, everybody should understand this and get this right off the bat. Like, this is so obvious. And to me, of course, it's obvious. But yeah, I think the awareness is the biggest piece. And, we still have young recruits that, maybe don't know that Vanderbilt's in Nashville or that Vanderbilt's in the SEC just because we haven't had the exposure in the sport of volleyball. So there's a lot of awareness pieces to it that we have to, really make sure that they're aware of what we're doing and aware of what's happening. But yeah, like I had an alum of Vanderbilt. He was up here for an event a couple weeks ago, and his daughter is, 14s or 15s down in the Dallas area. And he told me like, hey, lots of kids her age are talking about Vanderbilt volleyball. So for me, those are the moments of like, yes, that's awesome. Or when we played our spring match against Tennessee at Brentwood High School, it was packed with like younger kids that were all cheering for us. And that's not always the case for Vanderbilt, Tennessee, especially in this part. A lot of times it's the orange shows up no matter what. A lot more people that graduate from Tennessee than Vanderbilt. But those are the moments where I think like the brand building we're trying to do, the awareness we're trying to do, that's where I feel like it's working. So it takes time, but again, yeah, we've been in conversations with really top recruits, and I think that we should be like, that's how we should be with the resources we have in the city we're in. Getting a top, and I'm talking top 10 recruit to say yes is a whole different animal, and that's what's next for this program.
That's exactly what we talk about. It's like that's the goal. You got to go to the next level and steal somebody else. So you kind of just touched on it, but the state of Tennessee, volleyball in Tennessee, I feel like that's half of the battle. I think getting the SEC to buy in on volleyball is the next big conference where this goes, I think. So talk a little bit about just like having to, you're fighting with the Vols a little bit, not necessarily, but more so like working together in a sense to grow volleyball in that state and keep it going. And the run that SEC volleyball needs to create. I think Vandy growing a volleyball program is going to help with that. Have you guys considered that and talked about how you guys are going to be a huge help in growing SEC volleyball?
Yeah, just to go to the Tennessee question, I think, Pat Summitt and Tennessee women's basketball, there's this immediate thought like Tennessee's a women's basketball state. Mm-hmm. Then you start to dig deeper, and there's more high schoolers playing volleyball than there are basketball in this state. And there's more high schoolers playing volleyball than softball or soccer or any other sport. So like things like that, and like Nashville area alone, like our club scene is growing like crazy, but the number of athletes playing in this just metro area has completely blown me away. So that's something, and I think like Tennessee agreeing to play at Brentwood High School, when I called Eve and asked about that, I mean, them saying yes, I think that shows both of our commitment, to make the sport great here. And next spring, we're going to return to Knoxville and play at a high school there. So we're trying to go into the community and make it as easy on our, community to come see us play and come interact with us. In terms of the SEC, I found, I don't know why, I was like clearing out some stuff in my office, but I found, my initial goals when I first got here, like when I very first took the job, and one of them was to make the SEC the best conference in volleyball. And to your point, Mac, I knew, and having been in the league for so long at Kentucky and at Arkansas, I knew that Vanderbilt could be a huge piece of that. And to the things that Tipton was talking about earlier, we're in Nashville, we have a great education. It's Vandy, man. So like I think we can build a successful program here. But yeah, I'm really excited for this fall. Our coaching, our head coaching group has really grown in the last couple of years. We have some really serious coaches that have the same goals of making the SEC the best conference in college volleyball. And man, the top 5 in our league this fall are going to be insane. It is going to be crazy. And I know I'm biased, of course, but I can go on a limb and say I think the SEC is going to be the best conference in volleyball this fall. And we're starting to see a lot more with the television ratings and things like that. Like we got our TV ratings back for the SEC network, and they're right on par with the Big Ten network. So it is happening. And it's just kind of convincing the rest of the country that it is happening here too.
Yeah, we taught actually yesterday we did, and we just posted, we did the on campus with Tanya from LSU, and she was great. And loved talking to her about her program. And she really opened up at the end. We talked about the SEC, and you and I have had some of these talks and about, supporting women's athletics, but also, women's sports and volleyball, and doing more things like media day but do you think Texas coming in helps? Because they kind of go all in with everything. Do you think that's going to help push the SEC to speeding up promoting volleyball?
Yeah, I think it already has. And last fall, they did a lot of, they did a piece on just the Texas team, a documentary series thing on just the Texas team. And Maddie Skinner was a huge focal point of what the SEC, tried to do with volleyball marketing, and rightfully so. We talked about that in the room as head coaches, and that's one of the things that I think we're going to see the benefits of Texas joining, because we have Jared Elliott in the league now, and Jarrett's a really talented person from a marketing standpoint, from a brand building standpoint. Like, if you don't look at the Texas volleyball brand and think like that's elite, then I don't know what you're looking at. So to have that in our league and to have his, just knowledge, I think is going to help long-term as well. But yeah, I think us, Oklahoma, Texas, these are huge athletic departments and big brand names and big stories. Like ours is just a really unique story. The last SEC team to add volleyball was in 1994. So it's been a long time. And yeah, I think, like I said, it's going to grow and grow and grow. And women's basketball and softball are obviously growing like crazy in the SEC as well. So my hope is that it's just women's sports just keep kind of proving to everybody in this region like that they're here and they're here to stay.
One thing we want to talk about I think you talked about marketing genius, and that kind of made me think of Mac and myself with what we do. But and that made me think of the block party. With our idea, because that's the event we're promoting. And how awesome is that going to be?
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped that, by chance this tournament starts the first year that we start volleyball. And I think, again, it goes to show you like people are paying attention to the growth of volleyball in this area, and the Nashville Sports Council and ESPN Events, who's putting on this event, they both are noticing like, hey, this is a real opportunity here. And all three matches are going to be nationally televised. Like, how cool is that? The one ticket will get you three matches. And all Kentucky, Nebraska down to us in Illinois. Like, what a cool day. And the number of people that I got coming to town already for that weekend, and it's Labor Day, not a bad weekend to spend in Nashville for sure. So yeah, if you want to come spend Labor Day in Nashville, you're going to see some just insane volleyball the whole weekend.
Well, but like that completely speaks to, your guys' recruiting pitch and everything. It's like Mac and I said, it's come and you're in Nashville, right? And make a weekend of it. And bring 4 people that you want to convert to volleyball fans.
Yep.
And, oh, by the way, you're in Nashville for 4 days.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? But yeah. And at Bridgestone, so I have your main guy, Coach Corbelli, is working for me to get me a connection. I don't know if we're just going to end up being like one of those poor musicians just trying to make it. It's kind of the story of our life. So maybe it's good we're going to be in Nashville, but our little game day set is going to be there.
I love it.
We're going to be there. We might, like I said, we might have our little cup out asking.
Well, no. Guitar case. You just got to leave the guitar case open.
Yeah. But we're going to be there. That's going to be perfect. But what a triple header. And you talk about the state, but because Tennessee playing the middle game, you guys playing, what a way to promote it. And I know Vandy's been doing so much to promote your guys' kickoff,
yep.
Or your first serve, if you will. You're going to be exhausted, man, by the end of the week.
I've had 2 years to sleep, so I should be good. But I think we're going to have one of the most exciting starts to a season ever. And I'm trying to get our team to just understand, one, this isn't going to happen every year. Like this is a pretty cool, unique thing because of what we're doing. But two, just like, again, the opportunity that we have. So starting at first serve at against Kansas, with a new coach, Matt Ulmer, who I respect a lot as well, and get to do it in the city of Lincoln. Like, what a cool experience for our athletes, and having first serve at first serve. It's just too good. And then the following Friday, opening day of volleyball, we're going to have match 1 here on campus, and we should be releasing information soon about that. But we're going to play Belmont here on campus, and I'll leave it at that. But that's going to be a really, really special event that Vanderbilt's going all out and really, really making it a cool experience for our student body. And then, the Sunday, 2 days later, we'll be at the Broadway block party. So, I might need to hibernate when the season finishes, but you know what I mean? Like, I've had 2 years of sleep, so it's all worth it.
Let me ask you this. You grew up where?
St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin, about 45 to an hour out of Minneapolis.
But who was your team growing up?
My sister played at the University of Minnesota, same as Mac's mom, by the way. And my mom and dad went to Minnesota. So my whole family went there. So I definitely grew up all maroon and gold.
The most talented Gopher volleyball player of the last decade.
Last decade? God, I got to go Samity. I'm thinking off the top of my head, but I got to go Samity, I think. She was
That's
just...
where I went to.
Yeah, she was crazy. Gibbemeyer, if we're going earlier, but I think she's been more than 10 years. So,
well, that is not a great introduction to our next guest as we bring in. And I mean, I didn't think we need to bring on. I mean, build up the rivalry for the spring match anymore. But Coach McGraw, can you hear us? Can you click on there? We go. I thought CC McGraw is who I was going to go with.
CC, they did not set me up well for that one. That's on them.
It's okay. I forgive you. I literally texted him. I was like, I agree. So 100%. No brainer.
All right. So CC McGraw, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. So we just want to have you guys on together. CC, just tell everybody what position you played for Gopher Nation back in the day.
Yeah, so I was a libero, and then now I'm training the liberos at Louisville. So,
what did you play against? Did you play against Mac?
I did. Yes.
Who won?
I don't know. I feel like we probably were like 50-50 throughout the course of that time.
I doubt it, actually. I think I only beat Minnesota like maybe once or twice in Ohio State jersey. So it didn't happen very often.
Must not play in the postseason.
It was always a battle, that's for sure.
For sure.
Okay. So, but when is the spring match with Vandy and the Ville?
This Friday. Yeah.
2 days.
I know. We're so excited. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah, I keep hearing that the crowd is going to be crazy. So we're playing in a high school in Elizabethtown, and that's not far from Louisville, and between here and there. And I think it's going to be a really good crowd too.
Mm-hmm.
I even know where Elizabethtown, Kentucky is. So but so you guys have, because Durs, you guys have played one.
Yep.
This will be your second, right? But CC, will this be your guys' first?
Yep. This will be our first spring game. We just started 20 hours like a week ago. So
yeah.
Good.
So a lot of new faces getting new reps for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Yep, definitely. We lost a few of our vets from last season. So going to be some fresh faces, lots of talent, but we're going to be kind of moving some things around, trying different lineups. So it'll be fun and exciting for sure.
Well, the other change is all you coaches moved a spot over on the bench.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some movement with the coaching staff, but we had the awesome addition of Parker. So he's just sliding in with the middles. So be working with them. And that's what we were telling the team today. We're like, we'll figure out what our dynamic is now too. Cause it's like Dan loves to be super active on the bench and standing. Parker, obviously, I was standing. So we're like, we're going to have to figure out what our dynamic is now, but we'll just roll with it. It'll be good. We're excited.
Before we go, that is that's my question for both of you. So let's put money line on, does Todd get to go up and pace like a maniac, and does Mesky sit down calm, cool, and collective like DBK did?
I'd be very shocked if that happened. I think Todd is for sure. Yeah, no, Todd's gonna be calling his serving zones, and he likes to sit, and then Dan's definitely gonna be up and active, and I'm probably gonna end up sitting now just to balance it out a bit because Parker's probably gonna be up. But who knows? We're probably gonna be moving around. We'll see.
That's what I'm gonna be on the lookout for now. I'm gonna be watching the coaching staff for this game. I like volleyball. I'm just looking for the dynamic on the benches here.
Durs, what about you? What's your style?
Yeah, well, we hadn't coached in 2 years, so that was the bigger thing. And yeah, it was my first being a head coach, so I forgot to go shake Eve's hand at the handshake, and yeah, I tried standing for a little bit and I didn't like it, so I went and sat down again. But I'm used to jotting stats the whole time, so I kind of didn't know what to do with my hands the whole match. So yeah, it's spring, which is good. We're all figuring it out.
Did you have to yell at any officials? Did you have to get? If you got that part down, the intimidation part.
Yeah, I knew the officials. So they're like local people that I know. So no, I was not yelling at them. I was trying to stay away from that. I did have one where I was trying to get them to at least warn the other team that they were out of rotation. But then the next set, we skipped an entire rotation. So I couldn't talk much longer.
That's what you're going to have to work on, is buying a couple calls. You're not mean enough. I don't know.
I think Z will get in somebody's face this fall. I can see that for sure.
There we go. That's why we got Z on staff to intimidate.
That's right. That's right. Well, hey, bud, we'll let you go. I'm really going to try and get to Indy on the 13th. Coach Klanek from Purdue has invited me, so I'm going to try and get there to watch you guys for that match, but we will check in for sure and keep crushing it. We're obviously pulling for you, but best of luck, bud, and glad everything's going great for you guys.
Thank you all. Thanks for having me, and CCLC in a couple days.
Yeah, I'll see you soon.
Yeah,
that's right. Anders Nelson, everybody, and Coach Vandy, and we've talked about it, but that's. I think he's right, though, Mac, and CC can probably attest to that. They've done so well, and we literally said this. They haven't even had a product on the court that kids can see yet.
Mm-hmm. They've got to build something, and they got to just figure it out. I think it's like one thing, like you look at Louisville and what you guys are having to do with like DBK's out, Mesky era's in, and now you've got this staff that you got to figure out the dynamic. And now kids have never seen you guys work together, and like that whole thing and how you guys mesh well together and that kind of stuff. It's been a thing. You guys are it's a group that everyone's seen together before, but still there's a new dynamic there that you're having to intro, and Vandy's having to intro the same thing, a new dynamic that no one's ever seen before, but it's similar but different. Everybody's got their own battles to fight, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. They have we have the foundation, so now it's just kind of building on that and figuring out what that's going to look like with this group. But that's what Vandy's trying to do. Like, they're trying to build that foundation as much as they can. So
how has it been building that foundation this spring? Sorry, I'm jumping right in, Darren, but I'm curious. The new coaching clan, you guys are all back together. It's the same group. This is not a new group necessarily. Your girls are new, but this coaching staff has all worked together before. So, how's it been this spring?
Oh, it's been awesome. Like, obviously, with the change and everything, like, we were so stoked for Danny. But obviously, like, we have so much trust and respect for Dan. Like, he's one of the best in the nation. So I feel like it was a very smooth transition, and with Todd and I staying on and then us hiring Parker, who's familiar with the program and has worked with us before, like, it has gone really, really smooth. And like, the girls were super stoked, and I think this is just a really fun group of athletes. So we're super excited to play a different opponent, see someone else on the other side of the net, figure out some lineups, just try different things, and just younger talent and not a ton of experience yet, so we're just trying to get them as much time on the court as we can figure some things out. But it's a lot of fun, and everyone loves to compete, and we just enjoy each other's company. So it's been a really cool spring.
What's what's been crazy, and Mac and I have talked, is just how smooth it has been, because I know the administrations worked so well to take care of it, which speaks well on both behalves, especially I think Louisville, with the plan that they had in place and how well they took care of it. But we saw with some other schools that it doesn't work that well. And it's just amazing how well it's just gone. I mean, has it felt that way for you guys? Like, whoa, this has just been too normal.
Yeah, it was kind of wild. I mean, obviously the like week stretch of just like, okay, making sure that we were being proactive with like the conversations with the athletes and the commits. And I was super, I mean, just in general, like the fact that admin handled it the way they did. And immediately we're like, we're rolling with Dan. Like he's one of the best. We trust him. And that helped us and just alleviated so much stress. There just could have been a lot of uncertainty with that if they would have waited or opened it up or whatever. And it's like, to us, it just felt like a no-brainer. And it's to the players, it felt like a no-brainer. I mean, they were just, after the conversation, when Danny told them and our admin came in and we're like kind of building up to it, they were like, I swear if you don't name Dan right now, like they were all going to lose it. So it was just like a no-brainer situation. And obviously like Dan is not only just like an incredible coach, but just like awesome, just an awesome human to work for. And so I think that's made it really awesome too, just the transition and everything. He's very transparent and just like able to have those conversations with the players, with the staff, so we all just feel very comfortable. But yeah, it does feel kind of surreal at times. It's like, holy cow, like, I mean, Danny's one of the best in the nation, so it's just we feel very fortunate that we were able to find a coach so quick that can fill that spot in his own way and be awesome. So
I had talked about it, that it's so weird when people say how I know y'all, right? It just did it. It just had such a family feel, right? Where it literally was, where y'all had roles, and it wasn't even so much like Danny was the mother hen. It was almost like big sister in a way, right? Like y'all just kind of had like, oh, it's your turn to do the laundry this week and you got the dishes, and like, and when I was on campus and at the offices, and it was just so welcoming and it was a cohesive unit. And I talked to people about that. And when I talked with prospects, there was no tension or, I don't know how to explain it, but you don't get that feeling in a lot of campuses, and Mac's been around a lot of different staffs. It just I always use this, meaning it felt so even. I
think, Danny did such a great job at that. And I think still to this day with Dan's and stuff, like, it's a very collaborative thing. Like every coach on staff, every player of the program has a voice, feels like they have autonomy and can make decisions and be involved in some way. Like, I think it's really cool to be a part of, and it's just a lot. It says a lot about like, there's no like necessarily like a hierarchy. Like, yes, at the end of the day, like Dan is making the decisions, but it's like the conversations that are leading up to that. It's like, we're all taking chunks of practice that we're running. And it's not just like he's telling us what to do. Like we have like the skills that we want to coach and run and whatever. He gives us the autonomy to like do that. He trusts us, and it's really cool. And especially as like a young coach, it's awesome to be able to like have that opportunity to just like to know that a head coach trusts you like that, but to actually just let us do it goes a long way. And like the players see that. So it's like our young freshmen that come in, there's not even a hierarchy with them. Like, it's like, oh, the seniors run this and they do this and you're expected to show up. It's like, no, like if you have something to say, you can say it and everyone's going to listen, whether you're 17 or 22. Like it's a really cool thing to be a part of. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's pretty unique from my experience, like being a player and transitioning to coach. Like I don't know. I wasn't really around that as a player as much. So on a coaching side, it's really cool.
Yeah, that sounds very unique. And I think like exactly what you said, it's a good precedent to set for your players that like we're all equals here. And I think as soon as everybody can get on the same page with that, then that's when you have like a well-oiled machine that runs well, both on the administrative, with the coaching side and with the players. So that's huge. Okay, I have questions about players to switch off of coaching stuff. How's Chloe in the gym?
Oh my gosh, Chloe is just the best. Like, couldn't have been a more perfect fit in my opinion. Like, she is just a workhorse. Like, the minute practice ends, like after 2.5 hours of training, she's like passing for another hour or two. Like, she just grinds and grinds and grinds, and we always have to tell her to like chill out a little bit, but she's like wants to get better, is so bubbly and fun to be around, so easy to coach. She just wants all the feedback. So it's really cool to like bring in an outside that has the experience that she does and is as good as she is, and is able to not only like mentor the other outsides and other passers, but I mean, she's just so fun. Like, she's just a fun person. So we were so fortunate to be able to have her. And I mean, talking to her too, obviously I think as far as I know, she's very, very happy too. So both ends, it's like, we're really, really stoked about her.
Good.
She's now a Cardinal. So
yeah. How's her leadership stuff in the gym? We just talked about how there's no hierarchy or any of that stuff, but I mean, having her, she does have some experience playing at a high level. I mean, your team does well and has done well historically, but you do have some youth out there. Not that they haven't played before. You guys went far last year and were a strong team, but like Chloe's got a couple years under her belt being a Big Ten outside hitter. Is she bringing that to the gym?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's like it's taken her some time to like find her voice a little more and feel like she can start coming out and saying stuff, and she is now. It's like she's able to she's been giving people feedback, like if she's seen something on the court, like helping the passers, helping the blockers, those types of things. And then again, it's very like collaborative, like everyone's just trying to push each other and challenge each other to be better. And like of our outsides, she obviously, of the 4 outsides we have right now, she's the only one with any like full playing experience. So just the way she competes, the way she carries herself on the court and plays, like they're learning a lot from just observing her. And then she's growing as a leader, just trying to find her voice more and feel like she can step up in like team moments of saying what needs to be said or giving people shout outs and stuff. But again, yeah, that experience that she's going to bring to the group is going to go a long way for sure.
What about talk about overall leadership, leadership or attitude of the team? Because I would assume like the outside volleyball world looks at it and says, oh, he lost all these all-American 5th, 6th-year seniors. Boy, they're really going to be down, right? Or have to rebuild for a little bit. What is the attitude of the returners, and has that program mentality set in at Louisville yet, where, you know what I mean, where it's next athlete up, like we're good every year?
Yeah. Well, I think too, I mean, from a leadership point, like obviously Debo and Elena and Charity like all had these pretty big voices, and they were these amazing stellar players. So when we have these conversations with the players and stuff on like their development, it's like, you don't need to be the next Elena Scott. You don't need to be the next Anna DeBeer. It's like, how can we get you to be the best version of Peyton Peterson? Like, we want to bring out the best of you. Like, we don't need to recreate and replicate exactly what we had last year. Like, this is a different group of players. But I think the example that like DeBeer and Elena and whoever set with their work ethic, the way they showed up in practice, the way they were just selfless humans that wanted to bring out the best in their teammates, like that stuff remains. It's like, that's what's set with these young athletes now. They have the work ethic. Like it's like 3 hours later, they're still on there passing balls and they're grinding away and doing all the work. And then they're just, they're on volumetrics, like tagging like 30 things after practice. It's like, they are going to be some of the hardest workers I know. So that type of like Louisville volleyball, where it's like, you're gritty, selfless, just wanting to outwork your opponent every single time, like that's not going to change, especially from what we've seen this spring. So that transition, it's like, yeah, while we might not have as much, we might have players with less experience. It's like that mentality is going to be similar for sure.
Yeah. I feel like that's been your guys' thing no matter what, like just grind it out and get as far as you can, and you continue to do it every single year, whether it's a surprise or whether it's expected. That's what Louisville volleyball does. You come back year after year. Speaking of coming back year after year, both of your setters are coming back. They more experienced now this year.
Yeah.
How have they been in the gym connection wise, trying to fit those pieces together? I mean, obviously passing court, Elena Scott out, but somebody's got to fill her shoes. I mean, in their own way, as you said, but there's a dynamic between, I feel like, libero setter, that passing connection, all of that. How's the whole gym connection gone with the setters?
Yeah. Setters wise, so Glock is actually going to be done. So she's
I thought she was a year.
She does, but she wants to focus. She's doing PA school and wants
to have one more year, so I'm not crazy. Okay, perfect.
No, you're good. You were spot on. But we haven't like made an announcement or anything. But Nene, so she's been in the gym and has been incredible. Like you think about where she was at the end of the season, running a 5-1 in the semifinals and doing all the things. It's like she's better than where she was at then. Like it's crazy. She works so dang hard, and like she's just such an incredible athlete and an amazing competitor. So we're super excited to see where she goes with that. But setting wise too, like right now on the other side of the net, we have Hannah Kenny, who came in as a early graduate, but she's a total baller. So she's been dishing it and obviously still getting a lot of serve receive work. But as of right now, it's like these scrimmages, we're going to move some things around. But right now it's like probably Nene will be running the show. And then we have a transfer coming in, Molly Wilson from Washington. So she's a grad transfer setter. Again, stellar human being, wants to do grad school here. And so it'll be a really cool addition to have some depth at that position and some competition for Nay. But yeah, so we're excited. It's going to be good.
Well, one thing talk about too is the depth in your outside hitter room. Not only now they're young, right, and losing, maybe the big name star power, but you have some young talent and some more on the way that hasn't even gotten there yet. And it's kind of neat to hear that your program's at that level now where you have that Under Armour All-American type talent where we talked about you didn't have that in the past. And talk about your outside hitters and the depth that you have at that position.
Yeah. So right now we have 4, and then we have Chloe Meester coming in. And as we know, like Chloe is one of those outsides. It's like, first of all, her passing has improved a ton. So we were so stoked to see that just this past weekend. But it's like she's a player that's going to bomb. Like she's super physical. So I think that kind of separates her from the rest of our current outsides. Alana Bankston's pretty similar to that. But it's like you look at Chloe and you look at Ava and Peyton Peterson, and they're ball control kids. Like when you look at them, like I think their all-around game is really, really good, but it's like what makes them special is like they can pass really well. So I think there's going to be some interesting things that we can kind of figure out, but overall it's like I don't necessarily think that like our ball control and our passing is going to be a huge concern this year. It's going to feel like we have 2 or 3 pros out there with our outsides passing as well as they do. So tons of options. And again, Meester's coming in still, so it's like, who knows? But it's just going to give us more depth at that position, more things to decide, and tons of options. But yeah,
problems to have.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Talk about real quick, and we'll let you get rolling. But on the recruiting end, and you're newer to the program than the rest, but we've talked so much on our show and on our site of the evolution of the program. And we talk about our PPV pyramid and how you and Pitt kind of climbed that pyramid over the last decade, right? But other programs and evaluating and doing such a good job with evaluation. And what's it like now with your guys' big board? And what does that kind of look like? And numbers wise at this time of year, and maybe how that's different than even a couple years ago?
Yeah. I guess I can't speak to like the early on building of Louisville volleyball. I was not here, but like I think we're able to be a little more picky. Like we can narrow our list more. So it's like when we're looking at these top positions in each role, it's like probably like 5 to 10 total. Like that's kind of where we're at. But when we talk about like the actual evaluation and stuff, like I think ultimately when we look in our gym, it's like we just have like high IQ, just awesome volleyball players. Like they can do multiple skills and they just know how to read the game at a high level. And yeah, I think it's good as a recruiter too, just be open-minded. Like you don't necessarily, when you're recruiting a libero, it doesn't have to be a libero. It could be a setter turn libero. You look at Hannah Kenny, it's like she was a stud setter. She's setting for us right now, but like she's just an amazing defender and she reads the game and she's just a gritty competitor. You look at her and she's a winner. Like she just wins a lot of games, knows how to figure stuff out. And so I think those types of players, when we're making those decisions, it's like there's no one right way to go about it. But I think being open-minded and like creative too, and the fact that like at the end of the day, you want to just find really good competitors who are good athletes and understand the game.
I think that's something that sets you guys apart, Louisville as a program. Like I don't know if Danny instilled that in you guys or like where that came from, but like I think you guys, like Elena Scott was a setter, turned libero, did it all kind of sort of thing. Like I just think of her and I watch her ability to run the backcourt. She runs a tempo offense out of system because she has played so many different positions. I feel like you guys have that mindset that's just like, we want athletes in our gym and we'll figure out the pieces later and go do it. So props to you guys for having that on that kind of head on your shoulders, because I think that's hard to do, and it clearly is working and setting Louisville apart.
Yeah, for sure. The Elena Scott, that one's crazy. She's impressive. That's like, whew.
She's still doing it. Like
still doing it, still killing it at the pro level. She's gonna hopefully play forever because she's incredible.
She's got her team bouncing balls in our faces.
Yeah.
One thing, I guess that I do want to ask, because what did they do, the fan base in Louisville? Because I do get frustrated because I am fans of both schools. I don't know how it happened. I'm a little weirdo. I could be fans of both schools in that state because I like the coaches of both schools in that state. But the fan bases do not compare, unfortunately. And that's a good thing for you guys. How do you have such passionate fan base for Louisville volleyball? And I'm very disappointed with the fan base at the other school.
Yeah, I can't speak to that. I don't know. But I just think like the fact that Louisville, like Kentucky in general, doesn't have pro sports, and just like the community around the city of Louisville, they just love to support their teams. Like that's just, at the end of the day, that's what it is. Like when basketball's on, when football's on, when these sports are on and they're playing well, it's like the whole city shows up. And I don't know, but I can't say that that's on it. Like obviously we've won a lot of games and we're really good and we compete hard and we whatever. But I think that just speaks to like the community of people around the city of Louisville. They're
all in.
They are all in, and it is really cool to be a part of, because it's like when you think back to the Final Four and like pulling up in the bus and all those girls, like it gives you chills just looking at it, because you're like, this is pretty incredible. I don't know. The fan base is awesome.
I was there, I think, 6 times. Jeez. I was there 6 times, I think, last year. And when I was there for the First Serve showcase, Well, the place is right across the street. But I talked to the owner, and then we got to the pit match before the Final Four, and I talked, and he literally was like, "Hey, now we didn't know men's basketball was going to do what men's basketball did," and he was like, "Listen, nobody shows up for men's basketball. Like, this is the show. Like, volleyball is the show right now, and everybody is all in on DBK and Louisville volleyball." And he said it's been that way for a few years, but it's crazy compare, and it's not that way at, really UK, and they've won, right? And so do you know like what it is?
I think I give a lot of credit to Danny too. I just think her involvement in the community and like the donors and everything around this program, like she was so good at that stuff. But I think in general too, like you think about Anna DeBeer and Elena Scott, the local Louisville legends, it's like that brings a draw as well. Like that could be also a separator. It's like I can't tell you the amount of like fan mail that they would get. And just the young volleyball players who are aspiring to be like them one day. And, I don't know. I think that is a ton of pull as well.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know the main difference between their fan base and ours, but what I do know is like this community is pretty special when it comes to supporting their teams.
I think
the big difference is about 8,000 fans a night is the big difference, unfortunately. But I mean, the pit Louisville matchup, like that's what volleyball needs to be, is arenas like that. When you have to move out of your quaint little on campus, which is amazing, but when you're doing multiple, and I know Danny helped push for that, getting more matches, but when you need to move to the Yum Center multiple matches per year because spectators demand it, that's a good thing, and that's where volleyball should be played. It's crazy, and Louisville don't let up because it's an amazing atmosphere. That's what grows the sport, and that's what will continue to separate you guys. That and 30 plus matches a year winning, but
for sure. Yeah. But yeah, those Yum Center games are a game changer. Being able to open it up to the people that may not be able to have the opportunities to watch us at LNN and stuff. Like, I think that's really cool to.
Do you think there's a point in the near future where you guys will have to build a new gym or be exclusively in the Yum Center or go bigger all the time?
I think there's always ideas floating around, and like with admin and stuff, they're always trying to work out some things and see, because I think down the road that could be a real possibility. I will say, like, our athletes absolutely love LNN because it doesn't hold as many people, but it gets very rowdy because they're like on top of you. It's super loud, fun, engaging gym. So they do love it, and it's just like it feels like home. So I don't know. I mean, that's obviously a possibility with the way things are headed. So
good problem to have. Again, more good problems to have.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Cece, we will let you go. We could talk forever, but you probably got film to break down and practice to have and whatnot. But please tell the staff that we said hello and good luck. We're going to get to the Kentucky match. I'm going to make a week of it there, and heck, I might just bring the dogs and camp out right through that derby that you guys have there. At the end.
Awesome. You going?
I don't know. I can't. I'm still trying to save up from last year when I was there, but I don't know. I've done crazier things, just camp out for a while, but it's a pretty fun time of year to be there. But I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna come to Indy and watch the Purdue Vandy. And then I think Coach said that you guys play Kentucky the next week, like the next Friday.
Yeah, it'd be like the 18th.
Yeah. So I'm going to zip down and watch that and spend a couple days down there, I think, and hang out, and then go through Lexington and say hi to some people, and yeah. So I enjoy it down there, and maybe check out a day of races at Keeneland and Churchill, and do some of that stuff too. So I enjoy it down there. So we will see you guys before too long, but best of luck. And you said that Dialis is doing a good job.
Nae's doing, awesome. She, leadership wise too, like she's definitely finding her voice and she's stepping up. So it's been really, really cool to see. She's also just such a fun personality to have in the gym.
That's
total
right.
Fire. Yeah.
Awesome. We had her on. She's a fan. We are fans of hers for sure. So you tell her we said hello, but that's good. So we'll let you go, Coach. Thank you for your time, and keep doing a great job. We'll see you guys soon, and excited to see how the new look cards do. And we're excited to see Coach Meske sitting down this year.
Sideline. It'll be good. We're stoked. Well, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach McGraw, CC McGraw, Gopher Nation fame in her playing days, and now assistant coach with Louisville Volleyball, and that. Well, Mac, I don't think we didn't get to our stuff, and that's okay. It's better if that doesn't happen, but a couple programs doing a lot of good.
Couple programs doing a whole lot of good. It's cool to see 2 programs rebuilding in very different ways, building and rebuilding, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool to see. It's cool that they're going to see each other in literally 2 days. And it's funny that you mentioned to Cece, you got to go break down some film. And my brain immediately went to Vandy. She's got to go watch Vandy film, but there's no Vandy film to watch. Yeah. So I was almost going to ask her about, like, how are you guys preparing for the spring game? But, like, she's like, we're going to throw a lineup out there and see where we get, because they have no idea. And Vandy has no idea what's coming. And that's good for both. So it'll be cool to see.
I was going to ask you, how do you do that? How do they prepare? Is it more, it's got to be a lot of self-evaluation, isn't it, in the spring?
Yes. And a lot of times too, I mean, the spring, a lot of times you're teaching your freshmen how to scout, because you don't want to waste time in the fall having to do that. So a lot of times you'll use these spring matches to watch film on the other team and break it down really slowly so that the freshmen can learn how your team scouts. So it's like a learning process sort of thing. A lot of these freshmen don't know how to do volumetrics quite yet, or like how to do volumetrics on another team. They can watch maybe their film from practice, but not watch another team. So there's a lot of teaching that goes on. The spring is all about teaching. But yeah, prepping for these spring games, a lot of learning about how to use volumetrics, maybe a little bit of watching other teams. And then, yeah, probably a lot of self-evaluation. But also, I mean, it's a good time to practice the game plans so you don't have to waste time in the fall.
Well, I'll tell you what, you can just hear it from listening to Coach, but I've heard so many good things. We talked about with the transition, Danny going to, going to Nebraska, and like, hey, what are they going to do for the balance of the staff, right? And we've heard so many good things from prospects about CC, and you can just see what a home run hire for them a couple years ago, and keeping her around. And she's very, very happy, I think, in Louisville, and I know them to have her, but she does a great job in the recruiting realm as well. And it's one of those programs that just kind of does things the right way,
For sure.
Yeah. But